At the Ortigia Academy of Magic, Alto is tasked with summoning and forming a contract with a familiar in order to pass his grade. Despite failing the summoning spell previously, Alto discovers an old book that helps him successfully summon a demon girl named Vermeil. However, Vermeil, who is naked, kisses Alto to drain his mana and expresses her gratitude for being summoned and freed from imprisonment. She attempts to seduce him, but Alto refuses and instead makes her wear his sister's dress and shoes. Alto introduces Vermeil to the class as his familiar, and she hides her horns and tail to appear human. This makes Alto's childhood friend Lilia jealous, and she challenges them to a duel. If Lilia wins, Vermeil must stay away from Alto, but if Alto wins, Lilia must obey one command from him. During the duel, Lilia's familiar, Sylphide, launches a powerful wind attack, but Vermeil effortlessly blocks it. Vermeil then uses magic to arouse Lilia to the point of forfeit. Alto commands Lilia to be friends with Vermeil. Later, Vermeil reveals to Alto that Lilia is in love with him, but he dismisses her claim. Vermeil kisses and drains Alto again, explaining that she needs his mana to avoid disappearing. She suggests that sex would provide more mana, and tries to seduce him, but Alto stops her and insists that kissing is sufficient. Vermeil astonishes everyone by effortlessly knocking a rampaging dragon into the horizon with just a flick of her finger. Alto scolds her for drawing attention to herself, but their moment is interrupted by the dragon's owner and his big brother, Rex, who threaten them with Rex's powerful dinosaur familiar. However, Vermeil comes to the rescue by supercharging Alto's mana, enabling him to defeat their opponents with his crystal magic. Alto expresses his dream of becoming a skilled mage, and Vermeil approves of his aspirations. The next day, they meet their friends Marx and Cheryl, and the headmaster informs them that the class representative will be determined by whoever retrieves a fairy flower from the forest. As they race to find the flower, Marx is incapacitated by a man-eating plant, leaving Cheryl to tend to him. The rest of the group encounters a Cerberus guarding the flower, but Lilia drinks an invisibility potion to approach it. However, her clothes are unaffected by the potion, forcing her to discard them in her haste. Despite her efforts, one of the Cerberus heads detects her presence. Alto and Vermeil quickly knock out the Cerberus, allowing Lilia to retrieve the flower. However, her invisibility wears off at an inopportune moment, and in her embarrassment, she drops the flower, which blows away into Cheryl's hands. Cheryl is declared the winner and class representative, and the others congratulate her on her victory. Vermeil relishes her first experience of eating modern food, but their enjoyment is interrupted by the arrival of the Dragon Riders, and everyone admires their member, Chris. After their physical education class, Cheryl encourages Lilia to confess her feelings to Alto, while Lilia ponders over Vermeil's seemingly superhuman abilities. Vermeil causes a commotion by following Alto into the boys' locker room, raising eyebrows among their classmates. Later, Vermeil sneaks into Alto's shower and attempts to seduce him once again. Chris confronts Rex and defeats him for losing to Alto and because his familiar is a dinosaur instead of a dragon. When Alto learns of the incident, he becomes furious and challenges Chris to a duel. Chris accepts and summons her dragon. Vermeil supercharges Alto's mana, but Chris's fire spells prove to be incredibly powerful, shattering Alto's crystal constructs and even damaging Vermeil when she tries to block them. Chris taunts Alto, boasting that dragons are the superior beings, and all other creatures, including dinosaurs, are inferior. Determined to prove her wrong, Vermeil supercharges Alto's mana once again, and he creates a massive crystal construct to retaliate. Alto and Vermeil create a distraction using the crystal construct, allowing them to approach Chris and hold a crystal shiv to her throat, winning the duel. Alto's victory makes him popular with the ladies, which sparks jealousy in Lilia. However, Professor Obsidian lectures Alto about the seriousness of duels and not taking them lightly. Chris takes responsibility for her actions, does her own chores, and apologizes to Rex. Vermeil continues her attempts to seduce Alto, but he tells her that one should only kiss someone they love. Vermeil then confesses her love for Alto, leaving him troubled. Alto seeks advice from Obsidian about human-demon romances, and Obsidian explains that demons typically only want humans for their mana. Alto confronts Vermeil about her feelings, but she proves herself by kissing him without draining his mana. Obsidian, on the other hand, seduces a student named Emma Beline, but injects her with something and leaves her frozen in ice. Though she is later rescued, Emma remains in a coma, and the student council discusses the third attack on a student. As part of their class assignment, the students are tasked with writing reports on their familiars, and Alto reluctantly measures Vermeil's body for his report. Meanwhile, Lilia, fueled by jealousy, spies on Alto and Vermeil using an invisibility potion and entrusts her clothes to Cheryl. During the observation, Alto accidentally brushes against Lilia's nipple without noticing, leaving her in a state of bliss. In Alto's report, he lists Vermeil's likes as sweet, but Vermeil adds Alto to the list. Meanwhile, Rex, who is possessed, along with his mutated dinosaur, viciously attacks Chris and her dragon. In a flashback, Rex summons his dinosaur as an egg, and Chris helps him hatch it, mistakenly believing it to be a dragon egg. Vermeil embarrasses Alto by showing public affection, and Rex's brother pleads for their help. Despite Chris' attempts to defend herself with fire spells, Rex continues to beat her up, displaying an ability to withstand her attacks and his body undergoing mutation. Just as Rex threatens revenge on Alto, Vermeil, and his brother arrive on the scene. However, before Rex can carry out his threats, the student council president Elena intervenes, knocking out Rex and his dinosaur with her sword, destroying their growths in the process. Chris tends to Rex in the infirmary while an exam is approaching. As Vermeil walks away, and Lilia eagerly anticipates studying with Alto alone, Vermeil encounters Obsidian and accuses him of being the one attacking students. She urges him to stop, but Obsidian injects her with a substance that causes her pain and triggers the release of dark energy. The disturbance is sensed by everyone, and Elena rushes to the scene but is impeded by a monster summoned by Obsidian. Meanwhile, as Alto rushes to the scene, Vermeil undergoes a transformation into an uncontrollable monster, with Obsidian gloating over the situation. Elena engages in a battle with Obsidian's monster, but to her dismay, the monster regenerates from each attack. Obsidian ensnares Vermeil with a magic chain around her neck, gaining control over her. Just as Alto and Lilia arrive on the scene, Obsidian boasts that he had been injecting people with demon essence to try to transform them into demons, but now he has a genuine demon in Vermeil. However, Vermeil breaks free from the chain and launches an attack on Obsidian. Alto intervenes and gets impaled by Vermeil's claws while protecting Obsidian. Enraged, Vermeil makes another attempt on Obsidian's life, but Alto stops her again, urging her not to kill. In the process, Alto collapses from his injuries. Vermeil reverts to her normal form and uses her healing powers to save Alto. Obsidian, in a state of panic, injects himself with his formula and transforms into a monstrous demon, vowing to kill them all. Vermeil effortlessly punches a hole through Obsidian, causing him to panic and attempt to flee. However, Chris shoots him down, and Vermeil knocks him unconscious. The monster that Elena was fighting retreats, and Obsidian is apprehended by authorities. Meanwhile, all of his victims wake up from their comas. Later, Vermeil sadly explains to Alto that in order to heal him, she had to link their life forces together, which means that if one of them dies, the other will die as well. Vermeil then becomes distant and cold towards Alto, claiming that her monstrous form is her true self and that she should stay away. However, Alto expresses that he doesn't care and kisses her, leaving her flustered. The girls are grieving the loss of Obsidian, while the boys are complaining about Vermeil's absence from class. Lilia meets Vermeil and reassures her that she doesn't care about her being a demon, because she believes Vermeil is not evil and trusts Alto to keep her in control. Vermeil goes back to Alto's room and they reconcile with a kiss. Meanwhile, a warlock and witch named Iolet and Heliodor discuss Obsidian's failure and insult him, but find his research intriguing and plan to complete it. Vermeil puts on a school uniform that is too small for her and joins Alto in class, much to the boys' perverted delight. However, they are suddenly detained by the student council. Elena apologizes for not being able to assist them against Obsidian and reveals that Obsidian has escaped from prison. The student council holds Alto at sword point and demands the truth. With no other option, they confess that Vermeil is a demon and their lives are connected. Jessica, a member of the student council, wants to destroy Vermeil, but is shocked when Elena accepts Vermeil and agrees that she is not evil. Elena then invites Alto to join the student council. Despite being suspicious of Elena's motives, Alto ultimately accepts her offer, which makes Lilia, Marx, and Cheryl proud. Later, Vermeil warns Alto that she suspects Elena is not human. The two of them attend a council meeting, but accidentally walk in on Elena, Chris, and Jessica changing clothes. Jessica panics, but Elena and Chris brush it off, taking the blame for not locking the door. During the meeting, Elena presents a piece of the creature she fought, and upon examination, they discover a never-before-seen type of magic. Meanwhile, Iolet and Heliodor meet the creature's master, Kohakamiya, who becomes angry with Iolet for killing someone he was supposed to recruit. Iolet and Heliodor then leave to target Alto and Vermeil. Alto has a dream in which he sees a young Vermeil crying in a ruined city, and a woman tells him he must choose between helping humanity and bringing salvation, or helping Vermeil and bringing destruction. He wakes up feeling anxious about an upcoming exam, so Vermeil kisses him to drain and supercharge him. Students from all over the country arrive to take the exam, and the professor shows them a crystal ball with a flame inside, explaining that they must pour their mana into the flame to strengthen it. Several students attempt to affect the flame during the exam but fail as they are focusing their mana on the crystal instead of the flame. Lilia quickly realizes this and easily makes the flame grow larger. Cheryl, along with a student from another school, also succeed in enlarging the flame, while Marx barely manages to affect it and pass. Alto is the last to attempt, and he realizes that pouring mana from behind the crystal is easier. However, Vermeil encourages him to show off, so he pours his mana from the most challenging spot, causing the flame to grow so large that it shatters the crystal. Despite apologizing, the professor declares Alto as passing the exam. Alto and his friends then have a picnic before the written exam, where they encourage each other. Vermeil pulls Alto into a hallway for a kiss, almost making him late for the next exam. The student from the other school goes to the bathroom and complains about Alto showing off, but Iolet sneaks in and murders him, stealing his test ticket. Meanwhile, Elena and Jessica practice fencing, and after Elena wins, they take a shower and discuss Alto and Vermeil. Jessica still cannot believe that Alto summoned a demon, but Elena believes that Alto and Vermeil are clearly in love. Alto eventually reaches the test room, but Vermeil has to wait outside. Iolet enters the room and sits next to Alto, wishing him luck. Vermeil waits outside, feeling bored, but remembers Alto's promise to protect her. Alto becomes anxious when Iolet falls asleep as soon as the test begins, but he focuses on taking the exam. After some time, Iolet wakes up and writes rapidly, finishing the test within seconds, and then mocks Alto for being slow. As the professor reprimands Iolet for talking, a guard reports the discovery of the murdered student's body and realizes that Iolet is not a student. Iolet confesses that he only took the test for fun, and then summons a stone golem to crush the professor's legs. The other students, including Lilia, Marx, and Cheryl, evacuate the building while Vermeil and the professor from the previous exam arrive. Guards try to escort Lilia, Marx, and Cheryl out of the building, but they are sent back outside by a space warp. The golem remains impervious to their attacks and grabs Vermeil. In a fit of rage, Alto unleashes his power and destroys the golem, but Iolet summons more golems and injures Alto's shoulder. Alto demands to know what Iolet wants, and Iolet reveals that his group aims to destroy the world with the aid of demons. Vermeil transforms into her monster form, but Iolet easily incapacitates her. Iolet attempts to kill Alto, but the book he used to summon Vermeil shields him. Then, the woman from Alto's dream appears, claiming to be the memory of the mage of the beginning who sealed Vermeil. Iolet tries to attack, but the woman freezes time and transports Alto into Vermeil's memories, where he finds himself 550 years in the past and witnesses a younger version of Vermeil happily playing. The mage of the beginning explains that Vermeil was raised by a nun alongside orphans named Miel, Lynn, and Kate. Despite knowing that Vermeil was a demon, they did not care. One day, the townspeople discovered Vermeil's true nature and blamed her for a plague that had struck the country. They formed an angry mob and besieged the church. Miel urged Vermeil to escape, and Vermeil almost made it out of town before overhearing the mob plotting to kill her family. She rushed back, but it was too late. Her family had already been hanged. Overwhelmed with anger, Vermeil transformed into her monster form for the first time and killed everyone, burning the town to the ground. As Alto, horrified by what he witnessed, reacts, the mage explains that this was Vermeil's crime and the reason for her sealing. Alto realizes he can interact with Vermeil and comforts her. Vermeil then transforms into her adult form and tearfully laments that her crime cannot be undone. However, Alto reassures her that he does not care, and he kisses her. As they awaken in the real world, Alto declares his love for Vermeil. Iolet summons a massive golem and claims that Vermeil's sole purpose is to destroy the world. However, they tell him to be quiet and join forces to defeat the golem using their combined powers. Heliodor appears and warns that she cannot maintain the space warp for much longer, so she and Iolet escape through a portal. Vermeil recognizes the mage of the beginning as Fatima, who identifies Vermeil as her dear friend and urges Alto to take care of her. Fatima then repairs the damaged building before vanishing. Later, Alto undergoes training in fencing and martial arts with Jessica and Chris, aiming to become stronger in order to protect Vermeil. Despite being easily defeated in sparring sessions due to his lack of strength and experience, Alto remains determined to improve. In bed, Vermeil confesses her love for him as well. During a student council meeting, Elena emphasizes the need for teamwork to stop the attacks, and everyone agrees. Lilia, Marx, and Cheryl receive their test results and pass, but Lilia becomes jealous when Alto does not show up. She suspects that he is spending time with Vermeil. In reality, Alto and Vermeil are seen kissing in public, expressing their love for each other and their determination to protect each other.